Hello everyone. Welcome to the first episode in this Onward tutorial series, which we will be calling Bronze to Master, where I am going to teach you how to get the best start to the game that you can. To introduce myself, my name is Solomon, and I'm the founder of Aging Moss, AGM for short, which is a competitive VR esports organization that primarily focuses on Onward. Here at Aging Moss, we previously placed #1 worldwide in the Dub City VR Esports League and have earned over $2,000 competing at the highest levels of this incredible game. We are also active participants of the International VR Pro League as well as the VR Master League, in which we are currently placed top 5 in the continent. Beyond competition, we love sharing our knowledge to help players like you improve and enjoy the game even more. So whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your skills, you're in the right place. I have 3 big tips on setup today, those being what your settings should be, what your loadouts should look like, and how to find a good lobby to join. Let's dive in and take your gameplay to the next level. Your settings in Onward are a crucial but often overlooked part of your Onward experience. Let's start off up here in the top left, where we will see the graphics settings if you are playing on PC VR. When you click on graphics, you'll have a lot of options to change. For me, I play at the lowest settings since I want the maximum FPS and the least amount of clutter on my screen, but this is mostly preference and should be decided based on what your system can handle and what you prefer. A few options under that, you will find your preferred region, which will tell the game what servers you want to be connected into if you use the multiplayer rotation feature, which we will touch on later in this video. Next, we can see a few options like which hand you want to control your trigger, which is, of course, preference and dependent on if you are right or left hand dominant. After this, we have a very important one, the weapon pivot option. This option should always be set to lowered. This means that your guns will always come up and down at the same place, leading to more consistent target acquisition and shot placement. The movement comfort setting should always be disabled, as this will hinder your vision if it's enabled by adding a giant vignette to your screen when you move. The player height setting is also very important. This must be set at your actual real-life height. If it isn't, then your height in-game would be incorrect, which could lead to discrepancies in crouching, proning, grabbing things off the ground, and other play-space problems. The gun stock option should always be disabled, even if you are using an actual stock. Having this setting as disabled, and the previously mentioned weapon pivot setting set to lowered, will give you the best results when handling your primary. Some people, such as Aztec from AGM, choose to use the virtual stock option, but I highly recommend against doing that if you are a new player. From a competitive standpoint, snap turn is typically viewed as superior due to it being a bit faster. But in most Onward leagues, it is capped at 30 degrees, therefore explaining why mine is set that way. The hold to grip setting is crucial, and you really want this as enabled so that it is not a toggle grip. Using toggle grip will end up slowing down your utility and weapon switching. Melee heal input should also be set to none, so that you do not need to press the trigger when you are going to go revive your friend with a syringe. Sprint control being set to outer edge makes it easier for you to sprint. Instead of having to click down on your thumbstick to sprint, you just move it all the way to the controller's outer edge and you'll automatically start sprinting. Finally, I want to discuss the locomotion feature a bit here. The options are whether you want your movement to be oriented to your hand and which way your hand is facing versus your head and which way your head is facing. This is really preference at the end of the day, and people have theories as to which is faster. For me, I prefer the feel of hand locomotion. Now that we've gone over some important changes to the default settings, let's talk about loadouts and how to make a good loadout before you join your first lobby. Onto the topic of loadouts, which is probably my favorite topic to discuss in Onward. To start off with creating your first loadout, let's first create a private single-player shooting range lobby. To do this, start off at the main Onward home screen. At the bottom, press on Single Player, and then press Shooting Range. Now press Shooting Range Day. This will bring you into the helmet selection screen. Next, we are going to pick up a helmet with our grip button and put it on our heads. You can do either helmet first, as we will eventually be configuring both of them, but I am going to be starting with the MARSOC helmet. Now, you will see that you have 4 options to choose from, which are the 4 different classes that each side has. In a later video, I will be explaining the best loadouts for all of them, but for now I am just going to show you my personal favorites so that you can use them as examples until that next video comes out. For MARSOC, we are going to choose Rifleman. After this, click on your primary and scroll down to reach the AUG. From here, you will see that I'm going to put on a red dot as my optic. I'm going to grab 2 white smokes, and then I am going to put on some body armor and add an extra syringe to my kit. This is one of the current meta loadouts in the competitive scene for Onward, but again, I will discuss all those and why they are considered the meta in a later episode. Next, we will go to the top left and click this button a couple times, which will bring us back to the helmet selection screen. We are now going to configure the Volk loadout. For Volk, select Specialist, click on your primary, and scroll until you find the TAR. The TAR is currently the absolute best weapon in the entire game. For me and my preferred setup on the TAR, I like to use a holographic optic, 2 flashbangs, body armor, and an extra syringe. If you want to see some more of the current meta loadouts before the loadout video is made, go check out our website in the description below. Now that we are done making the loadouts, we can turn around and leave this lobby to get back to the main screen. Now that we have our settings all configured and we have loadouts pre-made for both sides, we are going to get into our last tip of this episode, which will go over game modes in Onward and which one you should be spending most of your time on if you are wanting to improve as fast as you can. There are 2 different types of game modes in Onward. There are core modes and there are social modes. If you are wanting to improve at the game, I recommend sticking mostly to the core modes, specifically one game mode called Uplink. Uplink is a 5 versus 5 team-based game mode where one side, the Volk, will try to defend an uplink. The other side will try to capture it, also known as capping, which involves typing in a 7-digit code into your tablet while next to the uplink. It is important to note that there are no respawns in this game mode, so once you die, that's it, and you need to wait until the next round to respawn. In Uplink, if your team kills the entire enemy team, you will be awarded 1 point. If your team captures the uplink, your team will be awarded 2 points, so it is always better to go for the cap as MARSOC, or to defend against it as Volk, than to go out running around just looking for kills. The first team to win a total of 4 points wins the entire match. It is also important to note that this is the main game mode of the competitive esports side of Onward. So, if you eventually want to join League, you should be practicing Uplink as much as you can, so that you will be prepared once you do end up joining your first League team. Now, let's learn how to join an Uplink lobby. To start off with, we need to access the server browser. To do so, you will start at the main Onward home screen, and at the bottom of the screen, you will see the multiplayer button. Click on that. You will then see a bunch of filters on the left-hand side of the screen. You will want to select the Show Full Lobbies option, the Show Private Lobbies checkbox, and make sure that the box for Show Friends Only is not selected. After this, you can select both regular and competitive playstyles, official and workshop map styles, and make sure that only Uplink is selected as your game mode. If your regions box does not show 4 out of 4, click on it and make sure all 4 regions are selected. After all this, hit the Apply Filter button. After you apply the filters, you should see some lobbies show up in the server browser box to the right. Find a lobby that does not have 10 out of 10 people, click on it, and then press Join Server at the bottom right. If it tells you that you are joining a competitive lobby, I would go back and try to join a different one. The competitive lobbies are the ones with a gold symbol next to them. If you do join one of these, make sure to let them know that you are new to the game but wanting to learn, and 9 times out of 10, they should be willing to help you out. Once you get into the lobby, all you got to do is pick up a helmet, put it on your head, select your loadout, ready up, and you're set to join once the next round starts. Thank you for watching this video. If you have questions, feel free to join the AGM Discords at the links below, go browse the tutorial section of our website, or leave a comment below. The next episode will have a deeper dive into loadouts. This has been AGM Solomon with the first episode of the From Bronze to Master tutorial series here on YouTube, and I hope to see you at the next one.